Hello there, this is Richie from the Metal Cell Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Jason and Dave from Grave Sermon. How are we, lads?
All good, Richie. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you on the show. I was just one of these bands that I was really looking forward to having a chat with, and I'm intrigued to find out what you're up to, basically. Since 2019's release, Watershed Tombed, you've been quiet, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
Is there stuff going on in the background that you can tell us?
To be honest, it's been pretty quiet now with COVID-19. Like, we're sitting on songs that need to be jammed out. We're firing on all cylinders there for a while before lockdown, and we had, I can't even remember, we had 4 or 5 really cool new tracks, and we were kind of ironing them out in the rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Stuff was sounding great, but sure, do I need to even say it? Like, coronavirus hit, and it's just all come to a stop now, to be honest.
Yeah. We had a couple of gigs we were really interested in as well.
That's right.
It was supposed to be with Overwrought and Fraught. Overwrought, just exceptional band. Yeah. And Fraught as well coming through. I think you were mentioning them last week because they were on
lovely guys.
Cursed Monk as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just great band.
Jesus, they'd be perfect for you, actually. That'd be and was that all on the one bill, Dave?
Yeah, it was going to be us. It was going to be Overwrought, Fraught, Gut Wrench, if you remember those guys from a few years ago.
Gut Wrench?
Kind of like Gut Wrench. It's Gutrench. Kind of like trashy death metal, kind of really real heavy, maybe big on the breakdowns. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong there. It's been a good while since I would have listened to them. And a band, Astral Tomb, isn't that the kind of like a newer band that came out there, but they didn't... COVID happened, I suppose. I think they would have been gigging a lot as well. And we're going to have that a gig in Fibbers there. The Fraught lads were organising it, so they were. Okay. And I would have been talking to Andy about that. That was, we're really looking forward to that. So hopefully we can get that going again if we ever get back to normal.
And she landed the Clang bill as well, yeah.
Yeah. And that's another one. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with that. It's kind of been postponed. But we're kind of tentatively, aren't we? Set up for, it's August now, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, I think so. It's been changed so many times. Every so often, Mark, our guitar player, forwards us on an email saying that the organisers, the promoters, essentially checking who would be available if it was moved forward to this date, and then that happened a couple of times. So, look at. Yeah. It's like everything else. Hopefully it goes ahead. Whatever crowd shows up, I'd love to play the boxing arena if it's still going to be there.
Were any of you at the Testament gig, yeah? Any of you go to that? Testament, Dead Angel and Exodus?
I missed that one.
Yeah, same as...
It was something that kind of crept up on me and was like, shit, I would have liked to have watched that, No,
the only reason I was interested in it is as a venue. It was pretty impressive. But I think, as an all-day festival, it might work. It might work for an all-day festival. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I'm not really familiar with the stadium, but I was kind of thinking, once Candlemass are there, and then Zentrix had to pull out with the postponement. So...
They'll be back in again, definitely now. With all
hopefully.
This.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm just kind of going, I hope he does the right thing and kind of, I don't know, he'll have to close off some of it, like, because I don't expect 2,000 people getting in and paying in, like,
Well, there'd be fucking 4,000 go if it was one of the first ones to be announced.
That's the truth. Yeah, now it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lads, I'm not joking you. How quickly we forget. That gig, I've seen Dead Angel. There was this thing going around Facebook. What bands have you seen the most? They're up there with Testament. I've gone to Testament one more time than Dead Angel, because I'm kind of a trash fanatic, old school trash fanatic. But lads, just think back when the excitement of a gig, especially American bands coming in and the crack and the fucking build up to it, lads. I swear to God, just driving up to Dublin. Just driving up to Dublin. I'm like doing fucking DJ and we're all fucking cracking cans and one poor unfortunate driving and we pull in, get to the hotel, fuck the gear bags in, and then you're off to Fibbers or wherever and just meeting everybody. Oh, lads, God, we had it so good.
I know, we didn't appreciate it.
Oh, we did. We did. I think we did. I think some of us did anyway. Especially going up to Dublin, you'd want to appreciate it. 3 hours of
I suppose if you're making a big day of it. You were always the unfortunate driver though, Jason, weren't you?
When I'm playing gigs, well, I have to fucking drag all my drum gear when I'm playing a gig. So it's like I can count on one hand the amount of gigs that I've played where I've been able to get drunk afterwards, because you're always dragging gear back and driving home. And
what's what's the car or van of choice for grave sermon?
Well, mine is Mondeo, fucking Ford Mondeo. We don't have a van. Legion of Wolves. I'm in Legion of Wolves. We don't have a van. Right, it's kind of just do it yourself. So trying to stuff the gear into the Mondeo. I have put the majority of my drum kit into the Mondeo, and that's 2 bass drums and 5 toms and the rack, the hardware. And then you get to the gig and your man's like, "Oh, you have 2 bass drums." "Yeah, I told you I have 2 bass drums." "Oh, well, I've only 1 mic."
Oh, okay.
"I asked you, could you cater for 2 bass drums, bud?" After dragging all this crap up, now we can't even use it,
It's like a game of Tetris. Is it trying to stack all that into the card?
I
did it for years as a DJ. I know the fucking crack, man. It's just fucking...
And everyone else sits down and watches you.
Like it's a 40-minute load up. You get to the venue, try and park, and then it's 40 minutes pulling it in, going through people, and then setting it up, and then that's for me as a DJ. And then 3 hours playing, then fucking 3 hours playing, and then another 45 minutes putting it out through drunk and fucking annoying people. And then always the gear will be still smelling the smoke, which is fucking wrecks my head because people can't smoke in pubs, but it's still smelling the smoke.
I know, it's coming in through the exit, But there'll always be that one person standing in front of your way. You're stood there with a bass drum over your head or something, and you're like, "Excuse me, you can see him standing there and I'm trying to get through. Will you get out of my way?" That's at 2 o'clock in the morning when everyone's drunk. You're sober. You're after playing a gig. You're soaked in sweat, and the anger starts to kick in. Get the fuck out of my way already. And
like we'd say, when you get home, then Jason, do you unload when you get home, or do you wait till the next day?
Well, my drum room is in my parents' house, so depending on how I feel, I might drop the gear off at the parents' house, or I'll bring it home to my own house. If it's the full,
that could be 2, 3 in the morning, is that?
Yeah, if it's the full drum kit, I'll bring it home to my parents' house and load it into the drum room. And if it's just breakables, cymbals, kick pedals, stuff like that, I'll just bring it into my own house. Sure, I've 3 or 4 of everything now at this stage. It doesn't. You can have a snare drum and cymbals in this house and that house, and
Let's talk about a trip you made down to us actually in Cork for Monmouth.
Yeah.
How did that come about, first of all, and did you enjoy it?
Dave, can you recall how it came about? I'll let you start.
I just asked Con, I'm pretty sure.
Shout out to Con.
God, I don't even think we had anything. I don't think we had anything even really fully recorded then. Maybe just a rough demo from the practice room or something with no vocals. And
go away,
I think so. We were just doing our best to get something out, and he just gave us a chance to do it. You can open that there if he's come on down. So we said, absolutely. And
he's a lovely bloke, that chap.
Sound out, of course, And you met Ralph as well. He was setting up all the gear.
Oh, I remember Ralph, the stage manager. Yeah, lovely bloke. Really calm. If there was a panic happening, he was able to calm people down and say, "Listen, you'll get your full time on stage." And I remember him, actually, lovely bloke. That
was great. The sound was excellent. That was really good.
The fucking sound. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even what a venue.
The venue was amazing for it. Like,
brilliant. Come here, Richie, till I ask you, like, would that be a regular venue for like bands, big bands, international bands coming over? Does that get used?
So big used for the likes of Steel Panther now. Who would come? What are the Darkness, Therapy, all those bands, you know? From
really, they're quite big, like for playing. But I suppose there is you would pack a couple of hundred in, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was a beautiful venue.
Yeah, so that was only open a few months, lads, when ye got in there, like, because a lot of us hadn't been in there. Right. And that was our first time going in there, if you know what I mean. Because to make money as well. So they open it for like DJs, foreign DJs and stuff as well. You know, there's a few different things, acts playing there. But it's it's definitely a place to be proud of in Cork anyway as a venue.
It was easy to know that it was new because it was spotless. Like I went backstage and there was power showers, and I was like, "This is a metal venue and they have showers." Woohoo! I was delighted. The lads were like, "Oh, you got 3 pints," and I'm like, "Oh, I got a shower." You know. I'd go back in the morning, like, you know.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Con gave me the room where Rotting Christ were in, you know, so I interviewed them on the day as well. Fucking gents.
Brilliant.
But so I kind of had free reign there. I think I did maybe 3 or 4 bands that day. King Witch was one of them as well.
Oh, they were great. The Scottish band, was it?
Yeah.
Heavy metal. Was that a female vocalist with them?
Female vocalist.
Real powerful vocals on it. Yeah, I remember that.
I really enjoyed them. They were brilliant. Yeah.
Jamie and Laura Gilchrist, that's who it was. But it was a fantastic day. Did you stay the night or did you travel back?
I think I had to go home. Yeah. I stayed for, I think I drank one of the 3 pints and then went after that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I do remember because my car was messed up that day, actually. The alternator was gone, but like the drive home. But I made it anyway, so.
And you stayed down, Dave, yeah?
Yeah, I was just Rotten Christ that night.
Oh my God.
It's like watching Iron Maiden headline or something, you know. It was unbelievable. The shapes they were throwing, you know. Just I brought a couple of friends with me, and they had we said we'd go down and we'd stay in Cork, have the crack and hang out, like, and I think your one fell in love with with the bassist, the big
strong fella in Rotten Christ, he looked like something out of a hair metal band, you know, the physique and the hair and everything,
But they were great, and Damim were great that day as well. I'd be a big fan of those guys from years back.
Yeah,
or Dam as they used to be called,
Jesus, they were outstanding as well. And Punch and Stench, but he just assembled a great cast of bands, and fucking everyone brought it. Sodomized Cavalier, is it?
Cadaver. But they were so funny as well. Sodomized Cadaver. Just the little jokes they'd make before the songs and stuff like that. Yeah, just big fan of them now ever since.
Yeah. So it just goes to show that, like, if it's done right and you get the right bill in, and people did come, but because, like, you know, the Cork scene and Limerick scene, you start to get to know familiar heads, and still there was certain people missing, and it was a fucking bank holiday weekend, and they shouldn't be fucking missing. They should be there, you know. And you're going,
I know. When the promoter and the bands go to such effort, like, it's nice to show up and give them a crowd. But, like, speaking of that festival, the follow up to that didn't happen because of COVID.
Yeah.
That was an even bigger lineup. Who was it? Cancer were on it.
Cancer, Benediction.
Cancer, I think,
Benediction. I was like, I am there.
I'm going to see Benediction,
Oh, God. The new album and the whole shebang. Like, I seen them in Birmingham with Bowl Thrower about fucking...
What? Did 15, you?
Yeah, about 15 years ago. It was class. Myself and Corey, we were staying in the Juries, and Birmingham was on a main street. I can't remember so well. But, like, you'd walk down this nice main street, you know, with fucking hotels and business buildings either side. And then we turned down this alley. And it was like walking into an industrial park. The landscape just changed. And everything started to look a bit run down, you know. We're walking along. Yeah, the venue's meant to be down this way. And there was the venue anyway.
What was the venue, Jay? What was the name of the venue? Can you remember?
I can't remember.
It wasn't one of the bigger ones, like, no?
No, what I'm saying, it was like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 capacity, but it was all standing. And it was kind of an old, like it wasn't, it was like the street we came off, every building was shiny, like, and then you turn down this alleyway and it was just like, okay, where are we now?
Yeah.
We're not in Kansas anymore. And it was an older building, but, you know, fully functional or whatever. And I have to say, Benediction tore the faces off us, man.
They were better than ball thrower, were they?
Look, Corey is the biggest ball thrower fan in the world. And he turned around that night and said, Benediction just destroyed everyone. Like, it was just the drum sound and everything that, what was that album that had out at the time? Killing Music or something like that. Was it?
What year now is it again?
2000 it was 2005 or 6, something like that. And, just the drum sound on that album, and it just seems that they were able to replicate that on stage, like playing live, and everything was just a skank beat, like ducka, this fucking, and the vocalist that they had back then, I know Dave Ingram is back now, but the vocalist before, he was just this real vicious style, like, you know, he's really snarling when he came up to the front of the stage, and it just blew us away, like, well, then again, I was probably so drunk when Bold Thrower came on that I kind of didn't fully appreciate it, but I've only done that once or twice in my life, but you couldn't deny the power of Benediction that night, like.
Yeah, it's very handy, Birmingham, because we were seriously looking at Birmingham in relation to getting across the gigs rather than...
London.
Rather than London. London and Dublin sometimes, because we can fly directly from Cork to Birmingham. And it's only
Isn't it mad, yeah?
It's only a 50-minute flight. That's all it is.
It'd be quicker to go to another country. Yeah.
Rather than driving 3 miles up or 3 hours up the fucking motorway, 45 minutes you're in Birmingham, and you're there for the day. You get in early. You get in around 9:30, 10. So what we did was we saw Power Trip in Hellfest. So the following year, which was 2018, maybe, or it was 2009. Yes, sure, it was 2019. Lamb of God, Creator, and Power Trip were hitting Birmingham.
I thought you were cursing there for a second, did you? I thought you couldn't think of the name of the band. You went Lamb of God.
And I'm sure I've no interest in Lamb of God, but
neither do I know.
I just said to Timmy, my mate, I says, look, we'll fucking go at the Power Trip. Fuck the rest. Like, Creator or grand. I've seen Creator. There's another band I've seen a rake of times as well. But
they always deliver, like.
They do. They're outstanding live. They're outstanding live. But it's just even more poignant now that Riley died, you know? Fucking hell. With Power Trip.
Oh, God. Yeah. Forgot about, like, I've never really listened to them much, but I do remember the young fella. Was he the guitar player?
Singer.
Jesus.
Yeah.
In his 30s, wasn't he?
He was young, fucking great vocalist, man. The presence, like, you just knew that you're in the presence of a potential kind of star, like, up the show. Like, I mean, he's dead. I know what you mean. Like, his death got on RTE News, the star. It fucking did, man. It was just
Jesus. I wasn't watching, wasn't minding.
Yeah,
it's tragic, no matter what. Like, you know.
But I'm going to bring you back to Monolith. What? Did you play the 3 songs off the EP, or what? What was your set list that day? Can you remember?
I think we only had we had about 5 or 6 songs written at that stage, and they all got played.
I could probably tell you we would have played those 3 songs. We have an intro that's kind of a slow, sort of a
doomy
kind of a 2 or 3 minute sort of a little intro into the set. And it kind of builds up, and then we had. God almighty, what was the name of that first song we wrote with Gavin, Jason? The real trashy one?
I could sing the riff for you.
yeah. We would have had a couple of early songs written, and maybe, because at that stage, I think we had Greg would have just joined us. Greg from Parhelia.
Yeah, big shout out to Greg. Him on there. Dude.
Hopefully we'll see that man again soon.
He's itching at the bit to get back at it as well, you know.
And I think that was that his first gig with us?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and
because I didn't realize he had joined G, because I was just looking at pictures of Monolith there, and I thought Gavin was still with you at that stage. And then when I was going through the pictures, shout out to Shane Horn, he took the pictures. I went, Jesus Christ, that's fucking Greg from Barhelia. And I went, fucking hell, he joined then.
Yeah, you see, Greg, he's well, you know yourself if you listen to Celestial Horizons, it's just an unbelievable musician. But brings a lot to the band as well, a huge amount to the band as well. But our guitarist, it's all, you know, through friends and stuff, because we had Gavin originally, and then we brought in Mark to help bolster us up a little bit. Everybody that joined us was always temporarily, but we just wouldn't let them go.
That was it, yeah.
I think he was going to join us, kind of just help us out, but we managed to snare him. And then we got Corey in to join us to help us for gigs. We could not get a bass player. And sure, Corey's one of them lads who just like, this is what the song sounded like. Can you play him? Yep. And so Corey joined us, same thing again. He was helping us out, but we're like, you're not going anywhere. And unfortunately, and for him. And then Mark works with Greg, actually. So we got Greg on board that way, and he came in and he just sort of, I suppose he wanted to do something different, you know. Kind of different to his Barhelia stuff. But
Greg can produce and everything. Like, he's a serious, talented dude. Like,
to have in, yeah. And such a lovely guy. I was on with Trevor McCormack. On Cranium Titanium. And
shout out to Trev.
Hi Trev. But it was like, I was just saying to Trevor that it was just so easy to get on with Greg. Like, it was just, he walked in and it was like, geez, I've known this guy all my life. It was like, just similar interests, easygoing guy, intelligent bloke. He's kind of up to the job. Just so easy to work with. Into the music, and so easy to work with because like, he knows. Like, it's not like when we were fucking young fellas and you're kind of trying to fumbling over each other out. Yeah, but you could be fumbling over a riff or something in the band room for fucking hours. It's, you know what works and you know what doesn't work, and you know what you need to go away and do at home on your own, or you know. So that was it. Yeah,
you never have to worry about like.
Did Gavin write most of the first EP, Whitewashed Tomb?
Gavin, I think Gavin Dorn wrote all of it. Let me see. Yeah. He would have. Gavin would have wrote all of the first 4 or 5 tracks that the band had. You know.
Okay.
Well, Mark would have come in and kind of helped polish those off as well.
Yeah,
I think. But the timeline's all a bit blurry.
Yeah, but like, where are you all from? Were you all from different places? Like, where are you from, lads?
I'm from Kildare, anyway. Okay. I live in Kildare. Corey's from Kildare. The county, like Gavin is a Kildare man, and then Greg is a.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is Mark from County Kildare but living in Dublin?
He lives in Dublin.
And Greg is a dub living in Wicklow.
I knew it was Wicklow. I was trying to think where it was.
And I'm a Carlow man living in Wicklow as well. Yeah, so I've been living up in Bray here for the last number of years. But basically, it kind of happened because. Jason went to put out an advertisement looking for musicians because we were going to do basically Angel Corpse worship at fucking, like just absolute, just, evil insanity kind of music. And sounded right up my street. And we were going ahead and we were going to do that. And I would have known Jason and Corey from years ago because I used to play in a band called Grand Ruin back years and years ago, and Jace would have been in Legion of Wolves and Abaddon Incarnate and Primal Dawn, so I would have seen Primal Dawn years and years ago a lot, and Abaddon and Die Sinister Bloom that Corey used to play in and stuff, so I was aware of those lads. And so when Jay posted that ad up, I was looking for a band for a long time, so I just jumped on that. I was like, yeah, we'll do that. And I remember going to meet you, Jay, and we listened to the last Primal Dawn album that had never been released. I actually think there was some chat about that on the Metal Forum the other day, actually. And
all right.
Yeah.
I must go on and have a listen.
Have a little look. But what you call it? So you give me a listen to that, and it's like, this is the kind of stuff we're going to do. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's fucking do it. And then I was like, I know a guitarist because I had been jamming with Gavin once or twice, but it was kind of stuff, very modern, kind of clean death metal, like the Revocation style of death metal and stuff, which wouldn't really be my thing at all. But we were kind of doing that just as something to do, and that didn't pan out. And so I was like, I know this fella Gavin. And we got Gavin in, and he wasn't a death metalhead at all.
Really? Was he younger than you? He looks young.
Yeah, he's younger than us, mid-20s.
Okay.
But
probably late 20s at this
late
stage.
20s, yeah. But so
still a boy.
He was eager to give it a go, you know, and he had some real nice style of playing. So me and Jason just sort of were like, play faster. You know? Pan you more.
I'll never forget
what it was. The poor chap were just like, that's great, just play it faster. That's a really nice riff, but can you play it any faster?
Jason wanted his blast beats, I suppose.
That's it, yeah.
I was like, now that's the second thing in your life that's ever given you a cramp in your wrist, boy. You know, fucking play it faster. I needed to be 220. Let's go. Oh, but he rose to the occasion, man. The riffs and the songs that he wrote were
fucking hell.
It was just amazing. I said it to Trevor that, like, he'd never. Who were Angel Corpse? Who were Immortal? Oh, I think I heard of Emperor. You know, but then like, have a listen to this. Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this. And then a week later, he'd walk in with something. I'd be like, "Oh, that's gold. That's begging for a blast beat to play." You know, if you speed that riff up, I'll blast over. It was, just, you know, it was great that way. Like,
and we fucked around for a long time, didn't we? Just the three of us, just kind of like we were just like jamming. A power trio. We had no bassist, but he had an awful lot of groove to his music and stuff. So to his riff, so we just kind of nailed down the sound that way, just through trial and error. And then when Mark came in, Mark was with Aesect. He used to be the singer for Aesect.
Yeah, multi-talented.
He's a seriously talented guy, that dude. And so yeah, he joined in, and he's just a polished guitar player, isn't he? Just like real tight, just super professional guy. And and then we just were able to kind of build up we were able to basically finish the EP and kind of flesh out our sound a little bit more that way. And then Gavin decided he was going to emigrate to Australia. So we wanted to kind of get him in the studio beforehand, because, you know, he deserves to have that done. He deserves to have those songs recorded because he wrote them. And then and we got a gig, which is basically glorified practice. And then he went off to Australia, and then eventually Greg came in, and we just sort of...
Did you know Gavin through Axel Symmetry? Gavin Doyle?
Yeah, well, I knew him through Axel Symmetry. I played gigs with Legion of Wolves and Axel for years previous, like a good few years, and we knew what Gav was up to, and I just went on the website and listened to what he'd recorded and thought, like, that's gonna be good for this project.
He got a lovely filthy sound out of it, you know.
It is. It's nasty. Yeah,
it is nasty. Like,
it suits. Like, like like if I would be doing an album, I'd want to step up in sound production. But like, it's a nice starter.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. The sound
Considering
production.
We came in, we did that in 2 days, kind of a thing. So it was kind of very
2 or 3 days.
Muddling through. But yeah, he was so good to work with.
Oh, Gavin is brilliant. Jeez, he's a gentleman, like, and he's very accommodating and everything. You know, he's, again, easy to work with, nice bloke, interesting bloke. I'm willing to kind of step outside his own comfort zone and try different things as well. Anything that we wanted to suggest, he was like, yeah, give that a try, no worries. And very accommodating, and will this work for you? Will that work for you? Do you want to try it this way? And, you know, just a good producer and a good bloke, you know.
And how ironic then the EP cover then with the Sisters of where was it?
This was a tune, the Bon Secours order.
Bon Secours. Imagine, fuck me, I don't know too many people even know that he had that out, you know.
No.
Like, I mean, the whole concept, Dave, and lyrics, I will suggest to you, and I'd love if you'd oblige, is, you know, on Bandcamp where you're obviously where you put up your songs, there's a section there that you can actually put in for lyrics.
Yeah, I thought about that. And perhaps I should, especially with everything.
I'd love to see him, man, because you know, at the best deliveries in death metal, sometimes, you know, lyrics are lost in relation to the whole sound and the way the vocalist delivers it. And, you know, man, you know, I really would love if you could actually take the time and get them lyrics up.
I'll do that actually. Nice. I'll do that during the week because it is something we kind of were very when we saw that the report had come out, like because that's what White Sepulchre is. That's about the tomb laundry. That's what they used to call it, the White Sepulchre, a whitewashed tomb. Is so I mean that's basically what that whole song is about. It's just about not to glorify it, like Catherine Corliss. I was watching a couple of documentaries of Catherine Corliss who sort of whistle blew the whole thing or unveiled the whole thing, and you know, we all knew what happened there, you know, to begin with, but just watching that was kind of like just profound.
Eye-opener.
Yeah, a profound thing to watch, and
it's a national shame, lads. There's no other way to fucking describe it. Like,
absolutely, yeah,
that's it exactly.
It's something to be ashamed of, and the way it was handled and the way it was dealt with. So the way I kind of approached that then was to kind of, for the lyrics for that song actually came together in about 24 hours between the band and myself, but it was, everything in that was just stuff she had said or stuff that was taken directly from the reports. So yeah, I should post that up just for a bit of context.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had been kind of talking about that, and we hadn't considered the cover. But Greg actually brought that photograph to our attention. That's because he had seen that before, and he just said, "I have an idea," like, and it was in Creative Commons. You know, we didn't have to pay for it or anything like that, and hopefully, I don't think we're going to get done for it. But it was the perfect kind of, that photo. Almost like people think it's something that we like, if they're not aware of it, maybe they are now, but that we had photoshopped it a lot, or that we had created the image that they had, but that's
incredible, man.
That was just what they had. We blurred out the babies, I think, which was, we weren't sure what way to go about it, what, you know, not to kind of
not, it doesn't matter, the whole picture tells a fucking thousand stories, but as I said, I'd love if lyrics were in with that, man, and just fucking, they deserve to be seen, you know. What about the other two songs, Dave? You wrote the lyrics to them as well. The Sin Eater, is it? Did you do lyrics to that?
I wrote the lyrics to S Out of Sin Eater, and Jason wrote the lyrics to
Motionless Terror.
Motionless Terror, sorry. To Motionless Terror, which is like just I'll let Jason talk about that one, but the S Out of Sin Eater is just about there's an old practice in kind of Wales and England and stuff, kind of that ran sort of parallel to their Catholic beliefs. You know, the way we had the same thing here in Ireland with like the little pagan traditions that were included in Christianity and stuff. So it was this idea that like when a person dies, that there's a person kind of prescribed in each village that's a sin eater. They're almost like a pariah. And this would have went on till maybe in the 1700s, the 1800s kind of thing. It would have been kind of wound down then. But their job was to come to the house and to eat a meal over the body, like bread and salt out of a little maple wood bowl, and they would absorb that person's sin, and they'd carry all the sins of everybody in the village, so to speak. And then when they'd eaten the meal, they'd be fucked out of the house basically, and kind of basically get out of the house and slinking off back down to their little, to wherever they lived on the edge of the village, or with their family and stuff. And it's sort of like a generational occupation, so the family business, so to speak. And I came across that and I thought it was so interesting and so morbid, like I just had to do something with it. But
where do you go to college to become a sin eater?
yeah.
Do you get paid for it?
Well, you get to eat.
Yeah. Much bread and salt as you can manage. And then Jay wrote Motionless Terror there, which is just your classic death metal kind of slash and trash him, isn't it?
We're going to listen to that because it's one of my favorite tracks. So
it's pretty good, or I like it.
Give it a spin. Can you hear it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that. How about that for a finish?
You had fun. You definitely had fun.
It's a weird feeling sitting there listening to...
Isn't it?
Yeah, you're just kind of like...
Evokes a lot of memories.
Yeah. Oh, it was like it was yesterday being in the
and you
studio,
need to hear tracks like that on headphones. Don't give a shit what you say.
Yeah, it's so intricate.
Blasting out of a fucking car stereo, you miss so much. You know, that's where I listen to a lot of my music is on the car stereo. Well,
we panned a lot of the...
I know you did, yeah.
I find that people... They're like, where's the other half of that? Where's the riff gone? And you're like, you need to listen to the headphones.
Yeah, it's panned, yeah.
Universally panned.
The lyrics for that are, I kind of like them, you know. They're simple and brutal. It was just a thing, like I write a lot of the lyrics for Legion of Wolves, and then it's a couple of times I sat down and went to Dave, what do you think it is? And he's probably, they're probably Legion of Wolves lyrics rather. I think I said riffs a moment ago, I meant lyrics. And I was kind of right, so I need to get away from that mindset of I'm not writing for Legion of Wolves. Well, what do I write then, you know? And I'd watched the new Halloween movie, the 2018 one.
Was that the Rob Zombie one, yeah?
No. This is the last one that was done.
Okay.
With Jamie Lee.
Lost interest, you know. I did watch Rob Zombie's one.
Yeah. This is Jamie Lee Curtis and the whole lot in it again. And I was kind of going, the trailers look really good. So I went and watched it anyway. And it was as good as it could be. I enjoyed it, like, and the brutality of the killing in it. So I was kind of influenced by that, and I went, look, I'll just write this really extreme, vicious, dark, brutal song, and if they want to use it, we can use it. And that was it. Like, it's so easy to write. Like, just your only thought has to be make it brutal and extreme. Like, you know, like, how can I say that in a more vicious manner? You know what I mean? It's fun. It's an easy way to write.
Some of the lines in that song are just like, you know, you'd be laughing saying it because they're so over the top, but they're brilliant. Yeah, there is a black humor to it, like, for sure. But the way that song kind of came about as well, it's different because Jason wrote the vocal line as well. So it's like you can tell it's a drummer. It's like and it's really, really fun to sing as well. Like, you know, it's really like, I always say it's like a D-side type of vocal line, like the you know,
the way he does it. Yeah, very influenced by D-side, I suppose. And I don't Slayer vocal patterns always seem to come out in my lyrics.
That's maybe interesting.
Yeah. I think when I first started writing lyrics, I was after reading the inlay card to Seasons, and I was kind of influenced by that, you know. And every now and again, I'd be writing lyrics for Legion, and I'd kind of go, no, that's too Slayer. Like, I can't put that in. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was back then. I have to come on from that.
So I think whatever, was Seasons more or less? That was more or less about horror. A lot of it. Wanted Ed Gein and all that. Was that, from what I can remember, Dead Skin Mask and all that? Was that Seasons?
Yeah, well, that was about Ed Gein, the serial killer. Yeah. Skeletons in Society. Yeah. I don't know. But then you had War Ensemble. I think there was a lot of different teams in that album. You know.
Which is it your favorite Slayer one?
Some of it is, like War Ensemble, Hollowed Point, Spirit in Black, fucking phenomenal. And here, there's no better video for a heavy or a thrash metal band than the video for Seasons in the Abyss.
Yeah.
But, like, I love South of Heaven, I love Rain and Blood, anything.
That's the trilogy, really, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. Show No Mercy is a different feel, but it's
a different feel, yeah. Different band.
Probably more, slightly leaning towards speed metal as well. Yeah, speed metal, but it's probably more evil sounding than let's say Seasons. Yeah. Seasons is more powerful. Yeah, and then did a lot of groove on Seasons as well, like, but that crept in on South of Heaven as well, but who says you can't do that? Like, you can't write Rain and Blood every year.
Do you know what? I'm half fucking glad they've fucking pulled the plug on it, really, at this stage, you know? What do you think, Dave? Are you a big fan of Slayer?
Yeah, I'd be a big fan of probably up to Divine Intervention.
Divine Intervention was good, yeah.
But I loved Diabolus when I was a young fella, because that was what was out, I know.
You're unique there.
No, I'm not saying it stands up, but I used to listen to that non-stop. But I'd be a big fan of the earlier stuff. Hell Awaits, Rain of Blood, Shown of Mercy.
Yeah, Hell Awaits was savage,
Yeah, when Gary Holt joined, Hell Awaits was his favourite one. Like he insisted on them playing a few tracks on the live performances,
That and Chemical Warfare.
Chemical Warfare. I have the 12-inch EP of that somewhere.
It's just relentless, like,
Isn't it? Yeah. That's when you knew that they were heading in the right direction. I thought Chemical Warfare was the one you just go, holy shit, this is actually they're moving up a level here.
The riffs were so good, and it was so relentless, like.
Yeah,
and the rhythms. Lombardo made the band in the early days. I think,
of course, he did. 100%. 100%.
That chorus riff was a dun 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 dun, ba dun 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 dun. It's just that's all him, I would imagine.
Now, getting back to your first gig, did you know Dara from Invictus? You were with Vomiter and Incessant.
Yeah, I knew Dara from years ago when I was at Primal Dawn, and when Invictus were first starting out. Yeah, he kind of promoted Primal Dawn for a while. Back then, I don't know.
I remember Primal Dawn playing Nancy Spain's.
Nancy Spain's, did we?
Yeah,
we probably did, yeah. I nearly fell off the drum stool. I remember. I do remember that, sweating the buckets. Yeah, we played with Carnoon Rising, I remember. We're on that fest.
Or was that the Krushkeen Lawn, maybe? It
was the Krushkeen Lawn. So where did you say?
Nancy Spain's. Primal Dawn played with fucking Scavenger, some power metal band from Drogheda.
Oh yeah, from Drogheda. I remember Scavenger. Yeah,
he recorded in the same place as them, didn't he? Because with Ground Rune, we recorded there as well, actually, in whatever Mad Dog. Yeah, Duleek. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Jesus, it's coming back, man.
Yeah,
there you go. So, back in Cork. Back then, there was like the Judgment, Chemical, and Nancy Spain's was the main source, and so we all went to see Obituary there. You know, Cerebral Fix,
Cerebral Fix, Scottish, aren't they?
Yeah, Zentrix, Paradise Lost. They all would have played there. And then everything moved then from Nancy's to Krushkeen Lawn. Then, so as I said today, Amon Mart, fucking Triptychon. Hail of Bullets, fucking Hail of Bullets.
That's right, Winterfest,
Winterfest, I remember that.
I didn't go down. Corey was playing it with Gassa. He was in Gassa at the time and they played that, but I was fucking mad into Hail of Bullets. I couldn't make it down. I think I was working or something.
Ed's the drummer with them, man. He's some fucking drummer. Ed
Warby, he's brilliant. Gorefest as well. Like if you hear the Gorefest album Rise to Ruin, the drum sound, like if you could just click a button, that would be your drum sound. My God. And he's just phenomenal on it. Blast beats, the whole shebang, He is excellent.
That first Hail of Bullets album.
Across the Moor.
That was unbelievable, man. I still listen to it.
Yeah.
It's the best out of the three, I think.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give it that.
Didn't they record their video at that point? I think maybe Jim from Sirocco would have been doing the. I remember because everybody got like a DVD of their performance, and
really?
I think we got like a really good quality DVD of our performance that night, and I'm pretty sure Hail of Bullets maybe they made a music video or an official DVD or something like that, but they used the footage for something or other because they had two professional cameramen there doing the thing. It was really.
I can't remember that now. I was at it, obviously, but fucking hell,
it's usually 2008, 2007, something like that.
They
brought out an EP after the album of Frost and War. They brought out an EP called Warsaw Rising, I think it was.
And some song.
Yeah, I think there was a video for that, which would have had live footage mixed over war scenes and battle scenes, if I recall correctly. Okay. Yeah, that could have been it could be what you're talking about there, Dave. I'm not sure, man.
Oh, it could be. It's a long time ago now. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's mental.
And as musicians, lads, do you think the scene has changed much from then?
Yeah, quite a bit.
I think the world. I think the world has changed, and I think that has changed the metal scene in general worldwide. Because believe it or not, I was only thinking in the last 2 days, like, and Corey, our bass player, has said this so many times about, like, he'd remember back when, you'd buy a metal mag and it'd be, the new Immolation album is coming out. Oh, Jesus. Everybody in Metal Ireland, if there was websites then, they were talking about it, metal stations, the whole lot. Here comes the new Immolation album. And now they just release an album and you're like, they have a new album. Yeah, it's 3 years old.
Yeah.
And maybe it's me as well, but I just think everything is moving so fast with the internet. You miss out on stuff, and nothing is a big deal anymore. I remember going to Slayer and the SFX and going to Maiden in the Point, and you were like, I came home from recording a Baden Incarnate album in Sweden. I came home early because I was going to the Point to watch Maiden. Nothing seems like a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going.
Entertainment is so fragmented now that, like, it's the same reason you can never get, like, like TV stars aren't as big and musicians in general aren't as big, because there's so many options. I mean,
that's it.
If you think about what a 17 or 18 or 16-year-old kid, trying to get into the scene, there's always going to be a handful that'll break through, but they have so many other things to do that it's not even. I think of it must be like when I was a young fella and you'd see the old rocker boys, like the lads who only listened to Def Leppard and stuff like that, and they'd have their mullets going on, and you'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, and they'd come up and they'd try to tell you, your music's nothing but, blah, blah, blah. And why don't you do this sort of a thing and stuff? And I often wonder, are we like that now? I still think it's like you see an album cover, like, oh, that's badass. That's like, I'd see this like a.
But Dave, you're looking at that album cover on a fucking screen, not in your hands.
That's true. That is true. But it's I just think that they don't have the opportunity even to kind of do that, to kind of go up to Dublin, go down to Sound Cellar and pick up 3 or 4 albums that you think dying to, or maybe you pick up 3 or 4 albums because you only seen the cover. You're like, that looks insane. I'm going to buy that. Like,
that's why we start listening to Maiden, because you're like, Christ, look at that guy. Oh, that's Eddie. Look at that guy in the front of the album. I wonder what the music sounds like. Like, do we even know what artwork was on Suffocation's last album? Or, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when I started driving as well, it's like Corey be saying, that the third song on such an album, and he'd give me the name of the song, and I'd be like, I don't know song titles anymore. I just, because when you were a kid, you sat on the edge of the bed, you were reading the inlay card. And now it's just, that's not sounding amazing. Click, next, click, next. No, I'm sick of that band. Click, next. You never, it's dreadful. Like, I try my best to leave something on when I put it on, but if you're not interested in it, you're not interested in it.
But you think that kind of permeates down to the Irish metal scene as well?
I do because I think the scene is very saturated. And look, maybe like Dave said, I'm that old rocker, I'm that old fart that's like, what's post metal?
You did ask that, yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of to make a point, like, but and Dave, you're a bit more liberal than me, but it's just like, I always say oil and water don't mix. And if you have to think about what metal was when it first came out, it had certain elements that made it what it is. And then if you dilute those elements or take those elements out, well, then it's not metal anymore. So, I'm just kind of like,
you're old school then.
Yeah, I'm like, there's
but like, it was always going to diversify and move across with probably the younger gang that are coming up, because they have way more exposure to alternative tastes at their fingertips.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they have to like it though.
I know, but where before, like
maybe we're not the people to be kind of critiquing it because our fingers aren't on the pulse of it, as much as.
Yeah. But we know where, I think I could safely say I know where it's coming from, because as you said, there's no big event anymore for an album launch. Everything is on their fingertips, so they can share.
Where's the mystery anymore?
They can dissect an album and take 2 songs out of it and throw it on Spotify to a mate of theirs and go, oh yeah, that's cool. So there's no waiting anymore. There's no like waiting for the postman for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To get the thing and then.
It takes the value out of it, like it takes the goodness out of it. Like it's like, if I don't have kids myself, but if you spoil a child, how are they going to appreciate anything? So we're spoiled. Like, all right, the New Testament album is out. Boom, there it is. I can listen to it straight away.
Yeah.
You don't appreciate it as much. Like, you kind of go, right, no, geez, that's a really good effort. That's great. It's typical of them and it's some new parts and blah, blah, blah. But you don't appreciate it like you did when you had to sit down and put it on,
But look, the other side of it then is the likes of E, who don't have to spend much. You can get a digital release straight out.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It has its pluses and minuses, And I mean, so but even just going back to that, the youngsters will find something to kind of, however they want to express their aggressions or their, the sound that they found is just something that maybe I don't recognize yet or something. But yeah, the fact that we are able to kind of access all these tools, we get our logo done by a guy in Mexico, just online. We can get if we want to get t-shirts printed up, we just contact somebody. Everything is so much more so much more accessible for us. It is, but that presents its own problems as well, because maybe our release, I think a few people wanted physical release, and maybe because of that, our release didn't have as much value, because it's not something you can hold in your hand and go, when you picked up a demo. I remember buying the Hex demo years ago. Yeah. Back, I can tell you the day I bought it, because I remember the gig I bought it at, and I remember it was March the 5th, 2005, because it was a gig in Dublin, and I remember buying that and holding on to it and playing it every day. And until I wore out the CD, and the same with the Sinister Demise CD. And I just saw that somebody posted, the Irish Metal Archives posted that back up online again, thank God, because that's a lost classic that was. And but yeah, so I do miss the what would you call it?
Well, like we'd say, I'm glad you brought up that now, Dave. So something like you could release an EP on a cassette now. Because there is people that are doing it in Ireland and doing it.
See, Adrian Foley's band, Necrokinesis, just got a tape release there recently. Adrian from Stereo Nasty.
Man, that's there's some great tracks in that, man.
Yeah, really good stuff. Really good.
So you would is that another issue, that bands aren't prepared to spend the money and just leave out a digital release and not spend the money on doing something like a 50 cassette run?
That might kind of add to the saturation that Jason was mentioning, I don't know how you feel about that, Jay, but if everything's just digital and in the ether, then it's sort of what's the hook? What's the reason to, if you're, but then that also, it has so many pros and cons, because then that also allows just the music to stand on its own 2 legs without any sort of ballyhoo or anything like that. So
but as a band, right, I'm just going to put this out to you and argue or debate, we'll say. As a band, I would like to see Grave Sermon have something physical for me to hold, be it a CD, a cassette, or a t-shirt or something, and is that a case? Do you obviously discuss it amongst yourselves? What is the next step for Grave Sermon? Because you are old school lads, whether you like it or not. So
I think physical releases, if you're not going retro with tapes or retro with records, long playing records or whatever it is, I think CDs are still the thing. If it's a physical copy, you go for CDs. But I mean, it's all but kind of extinct, really. You have your upload and streams and all that. So for us personally, and it's probably the first time I'm saying it, unless Unless we did a few vinyls, but like...
Oh, God, here we go at the vinyls.
but I'm kind of like... But,
we
you
had
see,
that argument before, yeah.
but it's not a thing. It's not a thing to release CDs anymore.
I know.
Because people go, well, why will I take the CD from you when I can get it on Spotify? And then you'll have the odd guy that will go, oh, I'm a record guy. I collect them, so I'll take that off you. You know what I mean?
So I remember we had a conversation about it. Sorry, Richie. And I think I would have liked I think I was arguing for anything and everything, you know. My head would be a bit in clouds sometimes, you know. Like, let's do this run of long sleeve t-shirts, let's do this, let's do that, you know. Like your classic death metal with the logo all down the sleeve. I imagine that a lot, actually. But I was just thinking about making my own one recently. But yeah, I suppose you have to weigh it up with kind of, they are nice to have. A small run is nice to have, and it might be something to consider. But
is that the change that I'm on about? Is that the change nowadays, that bands like yourself are quite happy to sit back and go, we have the digital release out here, let's move on? And I'm just amazed that we'll say and as I said, like, we're not young, but we all know what it's like to have an album. We all know what it's like to have physical lyrics and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering, are you looking at other bands in the scene and going, look, they have their digital stuff on Spotify and they have their digital cover, and we don't have to actually do any more?
Well, I think initially we just wanted to get it out there, didn't we? And and just get a few ears listen to it and get gigs. I think unfortunately, like, the way things have gone, this has become our release, you know. The only thing I suppose that people would know about us. But initially, I think it was going to be kind of like a vehicle to get us gigs. Yeah. And then we would have recorded, like, I don't know, Jay, were we going to do an album, or were we going to do another, maybe a five track EP or something like that? And we had, like, if it was what we were going to do, you know, to a degree.
Sorry, Dave.
Go ahead.
Just on that point, if it was something that we were going to put 5 or 6 tracks on, or a full length album, then I would definitely seriously consider a physical copy. You wouldn't, like, you have to have the album in your hand. It's such an achievement. Like, it for people like us, that it's whatever, semi-professional. Like, all right, we're not fecking Immolation or whoever. It's something that might only happen a couple of times in your life, where you record an album. So you want that physical copy. But what can often happen is, you're right, everyone in the band has a copy, like, and we've sold 150 other, you know. So
let me put it to you this way then. So what would be your version of success within the Irish metal framework?
Support slots with big bands in the major counties.
Okay.
And getting out and about and touring as well.
And having proper slots on the biggest festivals in the country. That's as big as it gets in our style of music in this country, you know.
Personally, I'd like to kind of, and I know Jay would as well, because we have talked about it, kind of getting a tour, you know, like, maybe like however that goes, you know, but like to just play a couple of gigs here and there outside of the country, and not just on a kind of a jaunt, you know, just like to go on a little holiday with the boys, but like to, you know, to do something that's sort of I suppose worthwhile, you know, or feels worthwhile to us. Because there is a difference, you know. We're not like we're all 35, 40. Apologies to Mark, who's not 35 or 40, but you know, the rest of us are, and you know, there's families and careers, and that's the harsh reality, unfortunately, you know. And there's taking days off work, and there's playing gigs, and then getting up at the crack of dawn to, you know. So it does kind of limit a little bit what you can do. You can't just like go, hey, we'll take 4 days off and we'll go to Scotland and play 4 gigs, and then we'll bring these boys back, like you might have done when you were younger, you know. You'd be like, let's go anywhere and let's bring anybody over here that we can get over here, which I would have done a lot, like when I was in Ground of Ruin years ago. Like, we were doing gig swaps, not that I would have done it, but the band would have done it as a whole. And you know, because we almost felt, you know, when you're young, you have that sort of, oh, we can make it, we can do this, you know, and we'll end up fucking going on tour with like whoever, you know. I don't know who we would have wanted to go on tour with. Maybe we'll get the At the Gates tour, you know, something like that. That'd be your big dream. And I suppose you're sort of you have all the pipe dreams sort of knocked out of you by the time you get to our age and you start loading up and you're opening the gig again and you're kind of starting from the bottom. So I don't know if we have if we ever sat down and talked about what our vision of success would be. But,
well, I mean, success to me at this stage, like, is, to be honest, like we haven't even rehearsed in over a year and I still play drums every week. Like,
I don't think about 10 months. Yeah.
Right. But like, I always want to improve as a drum player. Like, the main thing with this style of music is do your utmost, do your best, write quality music, perform it with 100% passion and effort and energy, and make it count. Do stuff that matters. I mean, if it's down in Cork at Monolith and we have a good slot and there's good bands headlining and we're rubbing shoulders with quality acts and we get a good crowd reaction and it's like Dave said, it's worthwhile and it's satisfactory and it's an experience and it was enjoyable and you don't lose too much money and everyone has a good time. That's it. Like, you know, if you want to get paid, join a wedding band.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but as I said, I just
play covers if you want to get paid.
Yeah, true. But
it's the injustice of it all. But anyway,
I know.
I'm having a few audio issues here. I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on.
I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, Dave.
Yeah. Like 1% will make money on this thing in Ireland anyway, to like the Primordial and stuff. But like, as I said, just every band have different ideas of success. You've released 3 songs. I'm hoping we'll say in 2022 that we will see you touring regularly around Ireland and maybe abroad as well, you know. But like, you need a good, solid release to back that up. But I think you have all the components there. You have the right members, you know. So it's just interesting. Yeah. It's just interesting in what your version of success would mean, you know, as a band.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, unless you're somebody like Primordial that started in the early 90s and has been consistent since then, unless that's the case, like, to go somewhere, you need to spend money, like.
Yeah.
You know, like, you talk about recording an album, like, you're going to have to, if you want to go to Fuel or go, I don't know, anywhere in Germany or whatever, and you want to hit a big studio in order to get a decent sound, you're going to spend thousands and thousands of euros. And realistically, if you want to go on a buy-on tour, it's 5-6 euros minimum, like, you know. And that's what I mean by it being saturated. Who is going to notice? No matter how good, I don't know how bands manage it, because, like, no matter how good we sound, it all depends on who hears it, or who do we know, or, like, what do you do when you keep trucking, like, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard your man, the drummer from Havoc, was having an interview with was it Frank Black, I think? No, I can't remember the guy's name. Randy Black or something like that. He's the drummer from Destruction. He was in Annihilator. And the Destruction guy was interviewing the Havoc guy. And the way the young guy in Havoc, the drummer, the way he said it, like, you know, I just put an ad in the paper and I forgot with this band, and then the Havoc guys found out about me through that band and I got called up. And it was like, is that actually how easily it happened for him? Like, do you know, and you're kind of going, is that luck? Or, I know he's a great drummer, like, but he's not doing anything that people in Ireland couldn't play, you know? And just kind of makes you think, and like, making it, what is making it? Like, you know, it's...
Unless you're kind of a corpse, you're not making it, you know? I remember watching the Dismember documentary years ago, and one of my favorite ever bands. And, you know, I think the singer was like working... You know, I think I could be wrong about that, but maybe he was like cleaning graffiti and stuff as a council worker. And you're just like, and they managed to get full time, you know, after a point, maybe 2010 kind of a time. But it's like, yeah, I think if you go out there with any ideas of making it, the just playing the music is its own reward, you know.
That's it exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's great to think about touring and stuff like that, but like, I don't think we've ever been sore about the idea of like every band thinks that they're like, oh, you know, like we could do this or we could do, every band thinks that, because if you don't, I don't understand, you know. You have to have a little bit of confidence in your own ability as a group. But yeah, I think just the joy is just playing and just hanging out with the boys and just making a racket in the practice room and
in the rehearsal room. Like, I love rehearsing.
That's all it is, you know.
Yeah.
Rehearsing is almost as much fun as doing a gig. Like,
and I know Jay misses that, like, but I know you're cracking up just having played drums by yourself.
So back in the beautiful days when you were rehearsing, like, who's the main joker of the band?
Oh, I don't know. Corey will always get into a mood where he'll start acting the maggot.
Yeah,
and then I was like,
you're fairly bad as well.
Yeah, well, Corey gets me going.
Stop in the middle of a song and start telling a joke, and we'd be creasing ourselves. We have we've good old crack in the practice room, I have to say.
Yeah, it'd be like, shh, we're trying to get a part here. Stop joking.
I think Mark and Greg might be, and they will joke along, but I think they'll probably just roll their eyes at us when we start talking absolute ball. I think me and Jay would talk a lot of bollocks to each other, and I think Jay and Corey would talk a lot of bollocks to each other, and they're different kinds. But there's an awful lot of shy talk goes on. But I think you have to, when you have a group of lads together, you know, it's
that like, goes back to the Abaddon Incarnate days as well, where it was just like you had some personalities in the same room. Bill Whelan was probably the sensible one. Steve was Steve. Corey was like as hyperactive as I was, you know, and you could stop in the middle of the song. I played a drum beat in an Abaddon rehearsal one time, and Corey said, "Play that drum beat again." And he started playing, I don't know what Michael Jackson song it was, but he started playing the bass line for a Michael Jackson song over it. And then, like, almost pig squealing the vocals. And I was like, that was fun, you know, but like, it can't be an Abaddon Incarnate song.
But like, everything kind of has that sort of, like, the song creation process in general has, like, sure, if you talk to any band, like the song titles you have before you actually come up, you know, before you...
The working titles,
yeah. Like, I think we have one, what do we call it? The Black Mariner, because it has kind of like a long intro piece, which reminded Corey of Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and it's kind of black metal-y kind of. Yeah, but you know, but just I remember on Roomies, if you write the songs up on the whiteboard, like it can be a bit of a free for all, you know. So
I actually found a page that me and Corey were rehearsing. Me and Corey were rehearsing there months back when the lockdown was over, and we were writing out the structure of a song, and then in marker at the bottom of the song was just Massacre. Right, so I come across this piece of page and I go, right, the only thing I can think of is this song must sound like the death metal band Massacre.
Yeah.
So that was a little prompt. This is the song that sounds like Massacre. You know what I mean? Just the silly things, like, you know, that you come up with.
The minute you said that, I automatically thought, yeah, that's the band, as well. Rick Ross and all them. Jesus.
Yeah.
And like, did any of you ever get hurt playing gigs, injuries or anything like that? With other bands now, like, you know.
How do you mean? Into fights, like?
No, you could fucking fall over a fucking...
Oh, I thought you meant like fighting with other bands.
Well, if you want to throw that into, I don't know.
I've had a couple of drumming injuries, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the worst drumming injury I probably ever had was a tendinopathy in my forearm. So it's just like a really bad case of tendinitis. That put me out for about a year. I couldn't train. I couldn't even text. Couldn't play the PlayStation.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. PlayStation is the worst thing imaginable. You'd be better off going into the gym and lifting weights than playing the PlayStation if you have tendinitis. PlayStation and texting is the worst possible thing, you know. It was a postural thing at the end of it. Like, my girlfriend Nikki's a Pilates instructor. She sorted me out. It was coming from my upper back and my shoulder girdle, like, you know, it's a mobility issue, let's say, which then travels down the chain of muscles, and I was just overdoing it.
Yeah.
But then again, I wasn't overdoing it. I was just in a bad alignment. And
then if you see any Dave Grohl type efforts falling off stages and stuff.
I had a bad one years ago. Again, a ground ruined. We got to support Decapitated, and they were my favorite band.
Oh fuck! I love Decapitated.
What a band! I was starstruck the whole way, and because we had tickets to the gig, and some band had pulled out, and we had maybe asked about it, and
I didn't know that.
And we were delighted. But in the back of the Voodoo, if you've ever been in the Voodoo Lounge, there's a carpeted stairs. Yeah, there's a carpeted stairs in the backstage area going down.
Yeah.
And I think I gave my friend a ticket, and I was like, oh, maybe we. And I was trying to watch the band from the side, and he was there. Maybe I was trying to draw his attention, or maybe he was with me actually. I was like, oh, come on, you fucking meet Cova, and he's cool. And what do you call it? I fell down the stairs. But I was a few points in, I think, anyway. But I didn't even feel an ounce of pain, you know. You're just looking around, just like, who the fuck saw me do that? Just so I could see Decapitated from the side of the stage and watch.
My God!
You slipped down your arse, like.
I slipped down my arse. I did a little roly-poly, and I can't remember. I remember it being like, I was like, thank God there's such a thick carpet on that stairs, and hitting the door on the way down.
Oh Jesus!
That was, and back in the day, I've headbutted a few headstocks of guitars and stuff like that by accident. And, you know, where you pretend that it didn't hit you. You know, you're just like, or you hit your teeth off. I've hit my teeth off the microphone a few times, and that really hurts. You have to pretend that nothing happened. Like, you have to pretend you're fine. Like,
I was only texting one of the girls there from Cork recently, and I said, "Oh, geez, I never said hello on Facebook when I said to set the friend request." Do you remember the gigs we used to do in Fred's? And she's, they were the days, like, and the stage was so small in Fred Zeppelin's that like the boys used to get changed. The boys were so nervous that, like, when a song started, we were only young, and they'd start headbanging just to be doing something, like, because you were nervous about being in front of a crowd. And time after time, their hair would get caught in the cymbal stands. Oh. So you'd have Paddy or Dave or John, and they'd be going fucking nuts next, like, and they'd be stuck, they'd be playing the song like this, right? And I was like, don't you move. If you knock over that cymbal, I'm going to fucking murder you.
Just let me do it. I was this going to be here to free up.
Yeah, just another couple of seconds. So he'd finish the song like this, and then bam, and he'd be like, oh, John, Jesus Christ, just rip your hair, just tear your hair. And the hair would get torn. And,
Jesus Christ.
Man, some crack.
So, it's a nightmare playing live as well. You know, when the boys have the sloppy guitars with where they haven't cut off the strings, and there's like loose bits of. That's my kryptonite on stage. Just like, I think Gavin was Turbo Man for that as well.
Yeah, Dave has a glass eye, Richie.
yeah.
Just the guitar string.
in the
I was just always worried. It never happened. I was always worried that it'd stab me right in the eye. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Jesus Christ. That would go straight into your eyeball.
Yeah.
That would destroy you. Can you imagine? Death by guitar string.
That's about the extent of the injury. Other than when you try to put your foot in a monitor or something, and you're trying to be a real cool lad, or you're getting really into it and you start wobbling or something because you haven't balanced yourself properly. That's happened a few times. So.
And you've never dived off a stage, Dave, as a frontman, no?
I have. I knocked a fella out actually one time years ago at an all ages gig. There's about 15 people there, and they're just like carrying me around. It's just a bullshit gig, in a youth club when we were starting out with that band years ago. And I was fully I never ever drink or anything like that before a gig, and fully Jaeger, and we were playing a song, and there was a girder, a steel girder on the foot in the thing. So they were like picking me up. They're basically like, I wasn't crowd surfing. There was about 4 lads kind of carrying me around, that way, and. I ended up grabbing onto the girder, I don't know, just arsing around, and I felt like somebody was trying to grab my wallet out of my pocket. I don't think they were, but I just jumped down onto the ground. I was like, oh, I'll stop now. And the heel of my foot just hit your man right in the head, and he just went,
oh,
He was grand 2 minutes later, but I remember that, yeah.
Oh, man, I remember playing Cavan with Primal Dawn, and it was just after Rory joined the band, Rory McDonough. And I can't remember the name of the pub, but this place was an absolute sweatbox. I nearly passed out after it, and because Rory was from Cavan, everybody that he knew that was a metaler in the town or surrounding counties came to the gig, and it was one of the most violent gigs I ever played. The lads, once we started playing, they just started moshing like fucking crazy. Lads were getting knocked out and everything, to the point where like we were thought we were hard asses, like we're a fucking black and death metal band from Dublin. And John actually went in the middle of the gig, like, geez guys, like, he's after getting knocked out and she's after getting knocked out, like, just Jesus. Take it down a notch. He actually turned around and said, take it down a notch, like, and because you're going to hurt each other, like, look after each other. It's kind of like a real Slayer moment. Look after each other out there, you know. That
Mental.
was like, yeah. Oh, there's people flying. Like, never.
I'm reading Harley Flanagan's book at the moment of the Cro-Mags.
All right, yeah.
Oh, well, you could imagine. Christ. You could only imagine.
No, you can only imagine and add fucking an extra fucking level. It's horrific.
Motion.
It is horrific, the shit that he did to people.
That he did
from the stage.
No. Just, well, probably from the stage, but not
just as an arsehole kind of thing. Yeah.
As a person involved in the scene back in the day, like, Jesus.
I see.
That New York hardcore scene was pretty pretty hairy enough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and of course, you know, it was the whole skinhead ethic then that he brought into it, and with that then came the violence. But it just look, he'd a hard life anyway, but Mother of Jesus Christ, the book certainly would certainly turn your stomach at stages, honestly.
Like, would you recommend it, would you? That sounds interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. The fact that he survived, first of all, but just a unique, I don't know how he even remembers it, you know, because we all get fucked up a lot of the time.
I'm not too familiar with the Richie. Was it like gang warfare back in the scene, or
yeah?
What was
see, he
it
was
like?
living in New York when it was pretty fucking dangerous. So there was Hispanics, there was a lot of gang activity going on. So he basically was maybe himself and his mother were kind of living in a Hispanic neighborhood, which was dangerous enough. And then he had to get a crew together to kind of look after himself. But then that crew with the rise of the Cro-Mags, they became really violent. And then there was younger guys coming on the scene. So the scene itself got really violent. So, you know, ultimately there was guys trying to challenge him, and
state their claim.
It's horrific what happens to a lot of them, being truthful. It is, you'll literally be gagging, you know.
Wow. Okay, that sounds really, because I always have the sort of, when I think of the hardcore scene, I'm going to make the rest of the band cringe now, but I'm a big fan of Biohazard and bands like that, like, you know, and even a bit 25 to Life, you know, stuff like that. I enjoy listening to it, like, but I always think of them as cartoony kind of characters, you know, especially like with Biohazard, you know. So it's really interesting to hear the idea that there's actually some hardened kind of
See, it got watered down, and he just started calling them sheep then, you know, really. But yeah, he's and like he admits it himself, he's not a nice character right through certain periods of time, and he won't even go into detail with a lot of it as well. But
bit of a Chopper Harris type, is he?
Oh, fuck me. But on about Harley and the lads, what kind of, if the opportunity came, what musicians would you love to collaborate with?
Oh,
I like realistically, Richie, or just if like a dream.
We'll give you a realistic one first of all, and then an unrealistic one.
Okay, will I go first, Dave?
Yeah, because I can't think of anybody right now.
I'll go realistically first. I'm mates, pretty good mates with Zella Cult. Like, the boys are brilliant, but I think John is a fucking mammoth vocalist.
Yeah,
the first time I played a gig with him about 10 years ago, whenever it was, he struck me like his fucking, and he wasn't as intimidating looking back then as he is now. You know, maybe he's a bit hairy or something. He's a bit larger, but he just has this growl, man, and it just has fucking tone and depth to it. I'd fucking love to do something with him. Who else have we got? I often thought I'd love to go back in time, and no disrespect to John Desmond, their old drummer, or Cahill, but I would have loved to have played with Carnoon Rising. I thought Mick was a fucking brilliant guitar player. Colin and Pete were great as well, and I liked the style. It was just straight up fucking death metal, you know.
3 guitarists, fucking
when he brought the brother,
what a great band,
he brought his brother in. Then I can't remember his brother's name. I'll give one more local one. I'd go back with a Baden. Anyone else?
That's quite good, man. That's quite good.
No one else local. Let me see. Someone might pop up, but like, right, if I was going to say who would I love to play with, and it can't be a drummer, obviously, if I'm the drummer.
Yeah, just even like, as I said, just a guest on your future album. Who would you like to bring in?
Oh, right. So it has to be from the extreme metal genre, really.
Okay.
We were going to have Pete Helmkamp do a guest vocal. We're going to ask him to do it because he had done it for someone else in the Irish scene back with Primal Dawn. That'd be cool. All right, if it could be fucking, I don't know. I'd love to record an album with Andy Schneep. How about that?
That's very good, yeah. Be interesting, man. Rich tapestry there to weave.
Yeah, I just think like for heavy power metal at the moment, I don't know if he's recorded any trash bands, but like when Blood of the Nations by Accept came out in 2005, I think the production blew me away, and I think he did the most recent Judas Priest, didn't he? He's doing everybody now. Yeah. But the cleanness, the clarity, and yet the weight of his production is it's second to none in metal worldwide at the moment, you know. Yeah. And sure, he's playing session or playing guitar for Judas Priest.
Judas Priest, yeah.
Dream come true.
I interviewed H from Acid Rain on the show, and
very good. Must listen.
And he was texting Andy going, "Holy shit, dude! I just read you're now with guitars with Judas Priest," and the two of them had a fanboy moment where they're texting each other. Can you believe it? Holy shit! Unbelievable.
It's crazy to think, like, you know. I think in today's world we kind of like we're talking about it now, but before this conversation we kind of going, oh yeah, Andy Schneep is doing Priest now because Glenn is ill or Ken has left. Okay, yeah, blah. But then you stop and think about the legacy that Judas Priest have. They've always been relevant, even through the 90s when music went to the absolute dogs.
And look at Painkiller. That was 1990, wasn't it?
Like this is Judas Priest, man.
But Jay, I'll just interrupt there because H said it as well. It wasn't no fluke that Andy Schneep got into fucking Judas Priest. Yeah. He earned his stripes, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was it. H knew him when he was 17, They were 17, 18. The two of them were best buds back then. And
from the same area.
Yeah, and he just said that he had dedicated his life to it, you know, and for what he's done.
Sabbath.
Yeah, for what he's done and all the bands he's produced, and as he said, if anybody deserved a break and to get into Judas Priest, Andy Schneep was the man through fucking dedication and hard. You know.
Well, you see, we only see him on the stage or we read his name. You don't know what goes on in the background. I was listening to a
Dave, we still haven't forgotten about you, man. Keep those wheels turning.
I'm trying to think. The wheel is broken and the hamster's dead.
The hamster's exhausted.
Yeah. I forgot about you, Dave. Sorry. No, I was just saying Nick Barker, I was watching an interview, and Christ almighty, between managing bands on the road and playing with bands live, doing session recording and actually physically being in bands, the man should be given a throne, you know what I mean? When late 90s when Cradle came out, and then he went with Dimmu Borgir, and it was just he was the absolute cream of the crop. And then if you think, but then as time went on, he started Lock Up and played the fastest extreme drumming known to the fucking world, you know. Then filled in with Testament and Nuclear Assault and Exodus and everyone else, you know. So yeah, there's a backstory to everyone, and you can be damn sure that it's blood, sweat, and tears that have gotten them to where they are.
Yeah. Come on, Dave.
I was trying to think of a good one here. It's my answer will pale in comparison to Jason's there. But if we're talking about like local bands and stuff like that, kind of in the Irish scene, which would be realistic.
Yeah.
I remember, I wouldn't want to replace him because he's just a fantastic vocalist himself. But I was always a huge fan of that Slave Zero EP. It's my favorite one, which was The Pain Remits. I was always like, geez, I'd love to sing that live, I'd love to just but like, obviously, they had Grave there singing for him. He's just a fantastic vocalist himself. There's a good few Irish bands that I would love to have, like, done stuff with. Sinister Demise. But again, how could anybody compare to Squelch vocally? It's just like some seriously, maybe like a doomy type stuff. Stuff like Morning Beloved or something like that, But again, they have Darren on the heavy vocal, and they have Frank, the best fucking singer to ever come out of this country. They've in the metal scene. So,
but Dave, maybe you're just looking at it in the wrong way. What about maybe say a guitarist, an Irish metal guitarist, come on, do a few licks on one of your songs?
That is an interesting one. I'm just trying to think who'd even. God, I can't even think of a good answer off the top of my head.
So internationally then?
International, if you're talking Fantasyland, like something like At the Gates, or something like that, or Asphyx, something along those lines.
Yeah. The guitarist or Martin just come in and sing. Martin, you have to get Martin in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. We do a duet. I'll just stand back and watch them.
They are the nicest dudes in metal. Man, we spent 45 minutes with them when they played Dublin in the Voodoo, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I met him at the Hail of Bullets when they played The Point. And he stepped off the stage and I was like, fuck, I have to say something to him, Because I remember listening to Consuming Impulse on vinyl in my brother's room, And I went up to him and said, he was shaking hands. Everyone says, "Hi, Martin, no, just a big fan of yours. Like, you're my first favorite death metal vocalist." And he just looked at me and said, "Thanks for coming to the gig, man." And all I can think was that he couldn't understand my Irish accent. Like, I was having this moment with him and like, man, fair play to you. Like, this is more than me just saying hello. Like, you're the first step. I just was completely fascinated by your vocals, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think he could understand what the hell I was saying.
I know that reason. Yeah, everybody is. Join the fucking queue, pal.
I don't know what happened that night. It must have been timing or whatever, but like there was 4 or 5 of us came up from Cork. And as soon as we got in, we went over to the merch stand and they were all the lads. Paul, the guitarist, and Paul and Martin were there. And then, what's his name? The drummer.
The big guy.
Yeah, not Fuzzy or Husky. Husky was up the bar. But the bass player was there. And we got loads of pictures with him. And then we just went back out to the smoking area for smoke and all that. And the stuff Martin told me. And do you know what he was wearing? He was wearing a Cork Winterfest t-shirt.
Oh man, he remembered and threw on the shirt.
And he fucking threw it on. Like, we couldn't believe it. We were saying, Jesus Christ, we were actually at that. And he was, yeah. Man, he taught me shit about what happened in Mexico that will never leave my lips. But it was just unreal. We had him, as I said, to ourselves for 30, 40 minutes. And like in the end, myself and my best mate Timmy, we were telling Paul, the guitarist, to slow down. Stop fucking drinking, man. You'll be shit-faced if you keep going the way you're going. Because he was having such the crack. You see, I think that's a huge thing with Ireland and Scotland maybe as well. It's that international bands love coming to play to Ireland and meeting the fans. Because
we're sociable, like.
We're different. You know what I mean? Because there's no stardom. It's just, well, come on, have a fucking beer and have the fucking chat. And we'll always have a story for them.
Yeah. You are drinking Guinness. Shut up, you take. You're not having that German beer. You're having a Guinness. Classic.
There's definitely an argument to be made about that, like for bands coming into Ireland. I'd say they fucking enjoy it, like.
Yeah. I think like
I think with Bill Burr recently, he was talking about that. I know that's totally off whack, but just like, but the same thing, the and Irish and Scottish people he mentioned, just there's something kind of about the characteristics, you know. I suppose everybody feels like they know each other, you know. It's kind of like a very almost aggressive friendliness, you know, where you're just like, well, how are you getting on? That was fucking brilliant, you know that?
You will have a drink, come on.
I love that, an aggressive friendliness. Yeah, I think that sums it up, doesn't it? We almost force themselves and then apologise.
Yeah.
But then we still force themselves on us.
Oh, look.
Lads, I'm going to leave you go, man. It's been a fucking treat to have you on.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us, Rich. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and God knows what next year will entail, but I'd imagine and fingers crossed and everything that you'll have something for us to release.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be able to get together, rehearse and write something and go and record. We'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen with COVID.
Put no tape in your hands, Richard.
Whatever, man. A physical copy of something, please. Do me, grand.
Yeah, awesome. Richie, thanks a million for having us on, man. It's been great.
Yeah, and stay in touch. Crucially,
absolutely, will, yeah.
Anything I can help you with, it goes without saying. There's no problem.
Fair play to you, dude. Thanks a lot,
Thanks
man.
A million. Now I have the goo for a load more Guinness. That's the only problem here.
Same here, yeah.
So you've been listening to Jason and Dave from Grave Sermon. Check out all their stuff. Dave has promised that he's going to put lyrics on White and
Sepulchre. That's the one.
Yeah, and. You know, who knows, as I said, you know, just give him a chance to get the rehearsal behind them, and we'll hopefully see something proper in 2020 when I'd say that's fair enough to say, lads.
Yeah, definitely. We have quite a bit of stuff like in the pipeline and kind of almost formed songs. So we're excited about them, and
cool.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Keep it vicious. That's all. Just keep the song vicious.
I love that. Yeah. Keep it vicious. And you can listen to the Metal Cell. Hit that subscribe button, and thanks for listening. Cheers.
Cheers, Richie.
All of that.